The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. But just like 1 plus 1 could equal to 3, 1 plus 1 could also equal to -3. And this is where my idea comes from. Synergy, but on the negative scale. The synergy of fear. Disappointment, rejection, failure, and misery. 4 of the different types of fears that each and every one of us gets to encounter at some point in our lives. And I chose these 4 for 2 reasons. First reason is that they are the 4 types of fears that we get to encounter repetitively through university. You apply for university, there is the fear of rejection. You sit for your first quiz, there is the fear of disappointment. Failure and misery throughout your undergraduate course, and you graduate to return back to the very first fear, the fear of rejection. But this is not the only reason I chose these 4. I chose these 4 because I have a personal story behind each and every one of them. I met rejection when I was a little kid. When I was small, I was very fat and I was chubby. I never made it into anything that had to do with sports. The reason was I was the kid that was always picked last simply because أي فريق كنت بدخله كان لازم أخسره. And I grew up to realize that I have been avoiding anything that has to do with sports simply because I did not want to be rejected again. Then I met disappointment. And I met disappointment when I met love. الدنيا كانت حلوة, الحياة كانت بمبي, but just like everything so beautiful in our lives come to an end, this one did. And I realized that I have been too scared of falling in love again just because I was afraid of being disappointment. And then, from rejection and disappointment, came my fear of failure. I thought I was afraid of failing myself again, and so I became such a workaholic. I did not want to fail myself on the professional level, just like I have failed myself on the emotional level. And the fear of misery was only a product of these 3 different fears. تعالوا نفكر مع بعض. إحنا ليه بنخاف? Is it because that we do not know that we are scared? Or is it simpler than that? Is it because of this over here that we get the monsters under our bed? Is it because of this that we're actually too scared? But if the reason is that we do not know that we are afraid, then there is such a big dilemma. Because as long as you don't know, you are afraid. But as long as you are afraid, you don't have any probabilities or any chances to go forward and know. And this is where fears synergize to bring you down. المشكلة إن إحنا بقينا مجتمع بيخاف من كل حاجة. بنخاف نجرب، بنخاف نتغير، بنخاف من كل كبيرة وصغيرة. والمشكلة الأكبر والأكبر إنه we're raising an entire generation built in fear. We are raising a generation that knows very well how to accept fear, but doesn't know respect. We know that we're raising a generation that knows how to embrace and accept fear, but doesn't know how to think and doesn't know how to use their minds to perceive outcomes. والمشكلة الأكبر والأكبر إنه the fear has become such a tool of manipulation used by media and by politics in order to bring us down and hold us back. And the only reason these people are using this fear is that because they have known very, very well how the fears could synergize. How the fears could synergize to bring us down and bring our productivity to a minimum. There is a quote I really love. The quote says, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself, nameless, unjustified, unexplained terror that brings and paralyzes all efforts needed to convert advance into retreat." And the reason I really like this quote is that it shows how fear could be so trivial, so simple, so nameless and unjustified, that it could actually have such a drastic effect, and it could actually bring us down. It could actually convert paralyze into convert advance into retreat. لما أنا كنت صغيرة كنت بخاف من حاجات كتيرة قوي. كنت literally بخاف من الضلمة. It took me a while, and موضوع الضلمة دوت طول معايا لغاية كام شهر فاتوا. كنت لسه بخاف من الضلمة. And I realized I had to get over it at some point. So قعدت في أوضة ضلمة، قفلت النور عليا, and I started to know what is it that I am actually scared of from darkness. There was no mic. There was no monsters under my bed. There was nothing. And maybe we could actually take it from here. Maybe if each and every one of us gets to think about what is it that you are actually very scared of? What is it that you fear the most? Maybe if we try and expose ourselves to the things that we are afraid of, maybe only then can we change. Maybe if each and every one of us takes a moment to actually rate their lives, to actually realize the amount of time we've been wasting doing nothing but actually being too scared and too afraid, maybe only then we could change. Or maybe if we actually realize that the reason we are actually afraid is this, وإن إحنا مكبرين الموضوع زيادة عن اللزوم, maybe only then can we actually change. In the name of fear, I would like to apologize to every word I could not speak only because I was too afraid. In the name of fear, I would like to apologize to every feeling I could not tell those who deserve to know only because I was too scared of disappointment, rejection, failure, and misery. I stand here today only to realize that fear could be taken into our advantage. That fear, if it wasn't for fear, I wouldn't have been standing here speaking about my own personal fears. If it wasn't for disappointment, I wouldn't been standing here today and speaking about how stronger I have become. If it wasn't for fear, I wouldn't have been standing here and asking you not to be afraid. Thank you.